at 5:06.
4:06.
Excuse me, 4. Back at 5. Thank you. And call meeting to order. 4:06. And we're going to start with introduction of board members. Dave, would you start? Just let us know who you are.
David Roberts, Director of Operations for the Hannaford Career Center.
Thank you.
Nicole McTavish, Superintendent Director.
Wendy Pratt, Assistant Director.
Christina Macklin, Addison Northwest School District Rep.
Dan Rosignol, Northwest Addison at-large rep.
Aaron Townsend, teacher, natural resources.
Roger Barassa, Adult Education Coordinator.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Kim Farnham, I'm the chairman of the board, I live in New Haven, and I'm the community at large member from the Mount Abraham School District.
Christine Wesley, I am the Director of Nursing at Porter, and I'm here in that seat, I believe. Or, I don't know officially what.
Workforce Development.
Okay, Workforce Development,
Yes.
thank you.
But now we don't really know who you are.
Okay,
And welcome.
thank you.
And welcome, thank you. Judd?
Judd Markowski, resident of Bridport and Workforce Investment Board member.
Austin Haynes, Business Manager.
Steve Orzek, resident of Middlebury, representative of ACSD, and vice chair.
Steve Parks, resident of Middlebury, at-large member.
Linda Barrett, Clerk.
Thank you, everyone. We have a quorum. Yay. Most important thing. Anybody online? Dave? I think Bill said he might try and come on that way, and Liz has in the past, but she also said she'd try to attend, so just give you a heads up. Thank you very much. Motion to approve the agenda that's in front of you.
So moved. Second.
Second? Is that Linda for that? All those in favor, either raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Seeing none. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Motion to approve the August 21st meeting minutes. There was a link for you to go to.
So moved.
Judd? A second?
Second.
Thank you, Steve. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Thank you. All right. Anybody opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't there.
Thank you. Too bad. I mean, we missed you.
Me too.
Thank
Although
you.
I was in a much nicer place.
And one abstention.
Fun place.
Anybody opposed that motion? Seeing none, motion carries with one abstention. Any public comments, either online or here regarding the agenda? So we do have somebody here who is our new adult ed coordinator. If you want to talk a little bit about your background and why you want to work at this wonderful place.
Oh, sure. Good evening, and thank you for letting me be here. I'm into this role 4 days, I think, and very excited. The staff has been awesome in helping me get acclimated to what goes on here and how we do things. And so I continue to be very excited about the work ahead of me. I'm also very excited to be back in Vermont. I graduated from Randolph Union High School many, many, many years ago. Attended UVM, St. Mike's, but left shortly after that to explore the greater world beyond the Vermont borders. But I am back, and my partner and I just recently moved back here permanently. We live south of Middlebury in Whiting, if anybody's heard of it. We bought some land there 6 years ago and are slowly building a new home there for ourselves. And I have a long educational history as a educator, mostly in Massachusetts, working in public and private schools. I was a lead for a charter school development project for a charter school in Massachusetts. I had my own private school for 6 years, and then moved on to work in the training and development in a corporate setting, and now find myself here. I'm very excited to be doing what I'm doing. Yes.
Welcome. Any questions? You're the man in charge of the table at the moment. We have 2 board members that have just joined us. I'll let them get settled before they can introduce themselves. Liz, do you want to just introduce yourself and where are you from?
I'm Liz Sayre, and I'm from the MAUSB board, an appointee from that district.
which is,
Sorry.
not April. Sorry, we have all these little old versions of the districts and everything. We'll let you sit. There you go. Okay. Laura, ACSD. From right next door. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we're speaking documents.
I know, yeah. That's okay. I understand that.
I live in Middlebury.
It sounds like there's actually a couple of people I should really get to know and talk to more at some point in time. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so, we'll connect.
Okay.
You're welcome to stay,
Welcome
or
to stay, but you don't have to.
you don't have to stay here.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the invitation. I'm sure I'll be back at some point in time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Nice to meet you.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good luck at the start.
Thank you.
We already started, but.
So in the consent agenda, which is listed, do you want to wait and do your report later, or do you want to?
Oh, to give the nod to Aaron? Like,
No, I think, we'll stick to the agenda. I just didn't know if you wanted to wait till the business manager report.
sure, that
Okay.
works.
All right. But we do need to go through the allocation of funds in each one. If you wanna do
Okay,
that.
great. So just to provide a quick recap for August 2025, in the general fund, we had $139,948.55 spent through accounts payable. Our payroll exposure was $215,677.10. For adult education, there was a combination of $2,149. In our enterprise account, $1,801.49. Student activities, $14,841. We did not have any activity in our scholarship fund. In the BERF, we had two check runs for $103,734.90. And that was our August 2025 expenditures.
And then we got a September one here, is that what?
Oh, I don't know what was circulated in your packet.
September one.
Yeah, we have.
Looks like that's from
Oh, yeah,
last year,
there's
so
no
that's
link.
probably.
I was looking for those numbers.
I didn't even look at the date, the number date.
Yeah. Little old.
Good old. Thank you for those numbers, that's why they didn't line up,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, it says 2024.
I think the wrong
Gotcha.
document was presented in your packet.
Okay.
Numbers look good for 2024.
All right, any questions? And he'll be here a little later to give his full business report. So we'll touch it on. Seeing no questions, I need a motion to accept the consent agenda as written.
So moved.
Oh, second.
You all set, Linda? Thank you. Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, motion carries, Linda. Thank you. All right, thank you. Aaron, field days report.
All right, so for those of you who aren't aware, the FFA is a CTSO, student, career and technical student organization, kind of like Skills, HOSA, et cetera. That's the agricultural one. And we have fundraising facilities at the Addison County Fair. We have a food booth, burgers, fries, other stuff. And we also have a dairy bar with scoop ice cream. And the primary goal, well, there are a lot of goals for that money, but most of that money winds up going towards funding a team of students to represent the state of Vermont at the FFA National Convention. This year's pretty awesome. We have 12 students going just from this chapter, well, 13, 15, but 2 of them are state officers. And it was 12 that we're paying for. And, 15 is the biggest group we've ever taken. And so the cost of sending those kids is $15,000. It's a lot of money. And so that's on the backs of kids to make that money. And so they have to show up, they have to work and earn the money, and they did. And so I'll tell you about the challenges and so some things that went well this year at the food booth dairy bar. Is a lot of student investment. So by having teams go to nationals, those kids are certainly invested to show up. for their shifts to flip burgers and scoop ice cream. And it was nice because having such a big team, you have a big responsibility to make that money, but you also have an invested workforce. Our last model was I would be calling kids, I'll get my rosters for next year. It happens in the summer, and I'd be getting my rosters for the incoming August, and I'd be calling students I don't even know, and their families being like, hey, you want to work the dairy bar? And they're like, what? So that model is tricky. We've done that. That's what I inherited 15 years ago here. We still do that, but it's nice not to have to do that this year because anyways. The food booth had a nice simple menu. Health inspector, we all passed with no check marks on everything. The dairy bar food booth, and it's the first time they didn't get you for 1 degree off on this or whatever it is on the freezers. Really good relationship with 4-H. They run the Dusty Chuck, and we share students a lot, and so really good relationship with them, and that's come a long way over the years, so that's really, really nice to see. Challenges are, I told some of my students to work full days, which is 12 hours, and they did, and they're like, oh, but they got 3 done. They showed up for Saturday. I told them they needed to. Forecasting menu, buying food continues to be a challenge because if rain is coming, you could have spent $5,000 on product you don't sell. Old but workable equipment. Some of our freezers are from the 60s, but they get cold, so they'll die. We'll have to buy them. We'll have to pay for them. So we made this year, the net from the food booth was about $16,000, $15,935. And the dairy bar netted $8,500, $8,538. So we have enough money to pay for kids to go to nationals, so they don't have to go selling chocolate bars and whatnot door to door, which is, we're really, really fortunate to have it. It's a lot of work for us teachers to do in the summer and all that, and on my part, there's a fair amount of grumbling for sure, but when you get there and you spend time with the kids and you realize what you can do with 1 week to fund this, it's a tremendous resource.
Any questions?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started with the whole crew. We get there. They look like they're running the ship pretty well.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Aaron, it was nice. I went to the dairy bar the first day and just see alumni there.
Yes.
And telling me what they were doing and where they were going to school and so on, and that kind of commitment is really helpful. And I think part of it is Anna Jo reaching out to people she went to school with and vice versa. I think that's been helpful. It was nice to see you. Steve?
You said that your ice cream freezers are getting old, and you may have to replace them. How much are you talking about there? How much does a new one cost?
That's a good question. So we bought a new one a couple of years ago. Thousands of dollars. So let's say $3,000. Or they call them dipping cabinets.
Okay.
And so we got to replace one of them. The last 1960s era one needs to go. Even though it gets cold, it's smart. So that'll be a couple grand, $2,000-3,000. The most expensive thing, I run the dairy bar. That's what I'm assigned to, so I know that. The most expensive things are the creaming machines. We have 2 of them. We put $1,000 in maintenance each year, but we're out of business without those things. And even these are 1990 era machines, but they're like $5,000 or $6,000 used. So
does the FAA own the equipment?
Yep.
And so the FAA pays for it?
Exactly. The kids pay for all of it. We have minutes and we send it all to their front office. It's pretty neat.
Is there any kind of grant funding for things like that, or?
That's a good question. I mean, we probably could even just go, or we have such an incredible community. Anytime we ask business owners to contribute money, they do. Yeah. As of right now, though, we squirrel away money as some overhead. I take $500 a year from the dairy bar, so we might have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 stashed away for that. So right now, we don't need to feel the need to ask people in the community. But who knows, maybe we'll start bringing way more kids to nationals. It's a life-changing experience for the kids. So the more teams we can get to qualify and kids can get to go. Pretty neat stuff.
Where is nationals?
Indianapolis, Indiana. They used to hop between they used to rotate every year. Kansas City, Indianapolis, and Louisville, Kentucky. But luckily, they just do in Indianapolis right now. It's the city that can absorb us the best, and it's the home of the FAA.
I think you can take 12 kids for $8,000.
Well, yeah, our hotel rooms alone are $8,000. A lot of money, but it's pretty neat.
What's the full attendance for that nationally?
75,000 kids.
It's huge. And it was a lot. That's good.
Mind-boggling. Huge career expo. A lot of the kids go for the college fair. I mean, it is so big. Big college fair, career expo. I mean, there are representatives from John Deere there, from Aspen Tree Service, and they're passing out cards to kids. And the teacher side of it is amazing too. A whole expo for curriculum and workshops and everything. So there's something for everybody. There's probably another 20 or 30,000 teachers and chaperones to go.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dave?
Eric, just a question on that. Was the 7,500 from ACE a part of that fundraising as well for the FFA?
Good question, yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's necessarily earmarked for nationals.
Got it.
I think we're gonna have to use some of that money, but it goes into the FFA bucket.
I just wanted to mention that Ace Hardware here, great friend of the school, did a roundup for a month or two and raised and donated $7,500. So that was another.
Oh, it's rounding up. Oh.
Dan said he's got a check for him too.
I let him round up. I didn't know it came up to $7,500.
We'll take it.
Thanks,
He
Dave.
was round up to the next 100.
They didn't tell me that.
Christine?
So I just have one more thing, Aaron. I recently joined the finance committee and actually reviewed checks. And I also run a big event that involves a lot of cash every other year. So I had some questions about how you guys manage all this cash. Like, is there a system and all that kind of stuff? So I just was wondering, students aren't cashing out and reconciling and all that at this point, right?
No, I mean, we will have them counted, but we have, the adults are there with them.
Yeah.
So they do it, and then we deposit it nightly.
Yeah. And is that you making those deposits?
Bill Vanderwerp does it for us,
Okay.
but it's
Yeah.
another person, yeah. And then, so you're right, cash is kind of liability to be
It
later on.
is, yeah.
Yeah, so we deposit it, and we have cash out slips for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't take cards at the dairy bar. Like, the internet is too bad there for the square system, and the line backs out.
And the money that comes in is, the Career Center reconciles all that money, right?
I don't know what reconcile means.
Well, actually, I guess it's not technically reconciled, but they just take in the money and then it goes into an account, right?
Yeah, they take it and then they deposit it and they send me the thing and I sign off, and it's a pretty open practice.
Okay. I just knowing how cash is handled in Addison Northwest, our auditors are really grumpy about stuff like that. I'm just thinking down the road.
There are definitely areas, and we've talked about areas we can tighten that up, because it wasn't like this a few years ago when it started. So it's obviously we're all heading towards a tighter process.
Right, and I'm not being critical at all.
Yeah.
It's just kind of one thing that I was like, whoa, that's, you don't want to set yourself up for something crazy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Christina runs the flower show.
Yeah.
So everybody's wondering.
Yeah, that's a lot of cash, yeah.
Are you still doing that? Are you still?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought you retired.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Damn letter.
Think I haven't.
You get that a lot.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Aaron, thank you to you and the other teachers who put in that time to make that happen. That's amazing. That's a huge lift for sure.
Definitely.
So thank you very much for that.
Sure.
Thank you.
And thanks to the kids, and thank you all for supporting it.
Yeah, do you see leadership potential in these kids doing this stuff? You see they probably have to spring to, and probably learn an awful lot running these things.
Oh, yes, it's
Without-
great.
Yeah.
And they part of FFA is learning leadership skills, and they have to work as a team too, so it's pretty neat. It's like a real world problem.
No fisticuffs.
Yeah. Well, sorry, the onus is on you to find all the staff. Maybe you can divvy that out a little.
Well, it's not me personally, it's all of us advisors share.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I am only one of many advisors. I raised my hand to come to the meeting. There's nothing special about me. There's all of us. There's all of us, and we all pitch in to that. Janice Bosworth used to do a lot of that back in the day. That's a long time ago. She used to.
Any other questions, Aaron? Well, thanks, Aaron.
Sure, thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So next, under E, we have personnel items. We have action for 2 new employees. Wendy or Nicole, you want to talk about this?
So Roger, you already met. He has taken on the adult ed role, and we had the need for a halftime TA in our Auto 1 because we have 21 students, which means we have a completely full program over there. So we were very fortunate to hire Chris Mendenhall, how do you say his last name, who comes with a lot of experience already working with kids. We all have been very impressed by what we're seeing in the classroom. He also is an adjunct faculty at Champlain College for gaming and design, and has done a lot of different camps, summer camps, and so just his expertise of having already worked with children, which sometimes, we're not fortunate enough to get that. He knows how to speak to their level, and he and Chuck, the instructor, who's, if you remember, was new last year, partway through the year, they're already making a great team. And I don't know, David, if you wanted to add anything, because David's there most every
Just
day.
shaking my head, it's such a nice thing to have the culture at North Campus settled and everyone is jiving. I think the students pick it up, the energy is positive, so I just, shout out to those guys, both Chuck and Chris are doing an excellent job. And then Dave and Chris on the other side, and then Anna Jo's upstairs, so it's feeling very good. And I think it makes a huge impact on the students' experience.
Okay. Maybe have him come at some point. It's nice for some of the newer members to meet some of the faculty, especially at like North Campus. So, sometimes they're an open house, we get to meet people, but at the same time, if you don't have a student here or haven't had one in the past, we don't get to put a name to a face. Anyway, any questions regarding their backgrounds or anything like that? All right, we need a motion to accept their employment.
So moved. Second.
Danny, Jen? All those in favor of accepting these 2 applicants, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, action items. Ends report 2.4, financial planning and budgeting.
Austin?
And just to provide a quick summary, I noticed the document that was linked in this, in the packet was not the same document that was submitted last week, similar to the financials, but I can just summarize the policy. It's a quarterly policy we review every year, and it essentially goes over our revenue and expense tracking methodology, our process for receiving cash, as Christina touched on. We track and record capital expenditures separately. We utilize a purchase order system for approvals for expenditures, so we're very closely monitoring all of our expenditures through that PO system. We're using cash flow or line of credit to float cash during periods where we need to pay operating expenses, payroll, and AP. And then a quick update on the audit at the end. I'll get into the audit more in my business manager report, but that's essentially the policy that is summarized in the 1 pager there.
Okay, any questions for Austin at this point? I need a motion to accept that report. Steve?
We accept that report.
A second?
I'll second.
Yeah. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. Backhoe donation.
That's me.
Thank you, Dave.
Ace Hardware, Abishon Ace, I think we officially are calling them here in Middlebury, donated a very, very broken, actually it's broken in half, backhoe to us.
Oh, boy.
It is worth $10,000, and these things new are $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. We think we might be able to fix it. It could take some welding program folks, this and that and the other, but if not, it's great for training, parts, and that kind of thing. So we are just very grateful for them, and I've already written them a letter of thank you, so that they can, that we express our appreciation for the impact side.
So I need a motion to accept that donation. So moved.
Second.
And second. Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Donation accepted. Thank you. Second reading of policy V5. Send this over to Steve.
So last time you were presented with, I thought there were 3 policies. Behavior threat assessment.
That one isn't finished.
I wasn't there.
She wasn't there.
Oh, okay. So anyway, 2 policies that by statute need to be in place by October 1st. This is our last opportunity as a board to approve them. So if you haven't had last time we presented these, B5 and D8, that was first read, or, I mean, that's shorthand for the first reading before 10 days when we adopt for the full policy. Christina, did you want to talk anything about B5? I think that was yours, the employee unlawful harassment.
Other than noting that the red is the stricken part of the policy, the blue is the new, and the black ink is what was existing, I guess, yeah.
The only question I had about the yellow is we had 3 people designated the last time we had this policy, and now there's only 1. So that's not something that we need to agonize over, but there were 3 people in that position. It was like the assistant director. They had named names, all 3 of which had left the organization. So we were switching it to designated positions. And now I noticed when I was reading it that there's only 1 person designated. Is that by design, or is it just?
Yeah, how do you want it to read, I guess,
Yeah.
is the question.
This is the way in practice it generally works, is pretty much all of these things come to Wendy. If they need to be farmed out to a different employee, then usually Wendy handles it. So I think this would be best, unless AOE comes down with a rule that you have to have certain things, and then we would just revisit it. We would bring it back and put different people in.
Yeah, I know that the investigation section that it says that this person.
Designee, right?
Yeah, or designee.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if there was some kind of backup like that. What if Wendy's not available for whatever reason? There's only 1 person they can contact about this. Seems a little.
Yeah, we could certainly designate in the staff handbook what the chain of command would be for that too.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense.
Because typically a complaint like that would go to HR, right? And we don't have an
Exactly.
HR department.
Exactly.
Any questions? For Steve, Christina, who else is on that committee?
Laura
Thank you.
and Dan.
And Laura and Dan. Okay. Thank you guys for doing that. I know it can be a lot of work sometimes.
The second one is the D8 is selection of library materials. This is CYA policy. We don't have a library, or we don't have libraries, and so the selection of library materials is actually a moot point. But we are covered by the law. Therefore, we have to have a policy about selection of library materials. One thing that came up in the discussion for the policy committee is, does this include curricular? Would that be considered a library? The teachers access online curricular material, and we said no, that is not a library, which is different than selecting curricular materials. So. But other than that, this is a policy we did not have. This is a new policy that Nicole found a template from, was it VSBA or what? Yeah, and we just adopted it pretty much whole cloth. It is, again, a placeholder policy, so we should be good on that one.
Anything you guys need to add?
I think we're set.
We're all set? Okay. Any questions?
This is second read, so we do make a motion that we accept the policy B5, employee unlawful harassment, as linked in the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
A second, Steve Parks. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you for doing that work.
And
Go ahead, next one.
adopt policy D8, selection of library material as linked in your agenda.
Steve, second. Anyway, thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you for all your work. I think that particular committee can be a lot of work, let's face it. And
But we got a great team. We
Good.
split the work and everybody shows up prepared and I'm really appreciative.
Okay, good, thank you.
Speaking of that, I missed the deadline for mine too. For a second for approval today. There was one on alcohol and drugs, and the other one was on conflict of interest.
Yes.
And I did a compare view. There's almost no changes for the update, but I missed the deadline to get that in, so we'll see that next one.
Does that have a date that it has to be done by,
I
or?
don't-
No, that's
Good.
good. We're
But
doing-
annually?
We're doing those, you gotta review a policy, good practices for policy every 3 years. The
Right.
two that Dan's talking about, those are part of that, so that we don't review all 38 policies at one time. So we're trying to present them a few at a time so that we don't have a big lift there in 2029.
Okay. Any other questions regarding those? Thank you, Ken. I see number 5 is change budget committee meeting from the first Thursday of the month to the second Thursday of the month. Easier for people schedule-wise, is that?
It was me.
I think it was Nicole.
I'm sorry, I have a standing, I'm on
She's
the
triple
Chamber of
booked.
Commerce Board, and that's important for us.
Yes.
And it's the exact same time. So I did do a straw poll, and that seemed to work for the team.
Steve?
I didn't get a chance to get back to you, but I did have a question about that. The way it has worked in the past is that after the budget meeting, that's when we need to set the policy agenda. So does that also conflict, and will that need to be moved?
My meeting is from 8 until 9, so I can probably still do, why don't we talk offline? And
Okay.
I'll just make it work for you, how about that?
Okay, that's good.
What time is that meeting on Thursday?
Well, normally the budget meeting starts at 8, we finish, and then we don't set a time because it's just Nicole and I to do the agenda for the policy meeting. And that's just like.
But the meeting starts at 8, is that, that's kind of my question.
I think, Steve, I think I can still meet right after the budget meeting with you. I'll double check my calendar if that still works for you.
The only problem is that since that's been changed to the following week, then we would be meeting to set the agenda on the day the meeting was for the policy committee.
Oh, it'd be a month ahead essentially. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, whatever the.
Okay, so we'll have to, I'll give you a call tomorrow, how about that?
Okay, that sounds good.
Lynn, did you get on it?
Only part I needed.
Thank you, Linda. That's why you're the
Discussion ensued.
Okay, so we need a motion to change that date and the Thursdays of the month.
So moved.
Thank you, Judge.
Second.
Christina, okay.
So
All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Dan, you got that on your calendar? Good job, don't forget. Need an alarm maybe for that.
So then setting the. No, just the budget. So setting the agenda for budget will be the week before,
Right, so
Thursday, the last Thursday of the month.
it can be any time the week before.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just we have to warn it on, we try to, best practices warn it on the Monday. So anytime the week before we can.
Okay.
Good, next,
So I'll call you too.
superintendent's report.
In the interest of time, I'm just gonna give a very brief overview of where we are legislatively. The task force has been meeting, some of you may be following that through the local news. To date, they don't have anything tangible to really look at. They're discussing different plans that people are bringing to them. As we've talked about before, the entire change to the way things work is a house of cards, where this is the first card. Everything else is an if-then statement, so if the boundaries don't get set, the rest of the legislation doesn't take place. So there's a lot riding on this team to come up with the 3 recommended boundaries. And their due date is December 1st, so that's a pretty big task for them, quite frankly. The two ladies in charge of that task force came and talked to the Vermont Superintendents Association last week, and they were great about asking questions, giving information, asking for information from the team. So certainly they were listening and thoughtful about what they were hearing and comments from the audience. I don't have any insight into where that will go or what will happen with that. The CTE Directors Group has not taken a position on either of the governance models where districts are formed because there's not agreement. There's a slight leaning toward being part of districts, but I will tell you on any given day it goes either way. So the reason is that there are no details. So it's pretty hard to react to something when you have zero details, just a kind of an idea about. The AOE is very interested in a one CTE district, and so they will be putting forward bill legislation along those lines. I have no idea, couldn't even predict what will happen there. But I'll keep you posted as we move forward through legislative season.
Dan?
Does the VSBA have anything to say about this?
I don't know. Do I have a representative that might know something here with us today?
To say about what specifically?
The legislation about for technical education.
Well, I mean, as you know, the VSBA's position is that of the members in the association, and so I would draw your attention to the fact that the current slate of resolutions, there's 11 of them, they're proposed. They will be voted on at the annual meeting on October 23rd. So that would be a good time for you to participate in reviewing, before the meeting, reviewing the resolutions, and then please do come to the annual meeting to participate in the discussion. Although I don't know if you know this, but you need to designate one voting member per SU, and I guess that would also be you would be part of the ACSD, or do you get your own vote?
We have our own, and for you, the board, we do have one member who is going to the whole conference, which is Bill, so the board may consider designating him. Are you gonna go as well? But you're going for ACSD, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so you would probably be voting for them, but you will need to designate somebody to vote for you. Kim is going to be there for part of it, so just keep that in mind.
And Nicole, just a clarification, the business meeting is separated from the conference this year.
Oh, okay.
So the annual business meeting, when that vote will take place, is October 23rd. It's a virtual meeting.
It's like a week before the
It's a week before the conference, yeah.
All right. So.
And I will add to that, I got sent a survey through email a few days ago. And basically, I just, the questions that were asked is, do you have ideas, about who you are, what you stand for, what your completion rates are, all of those typical things that we've talked about on a regular basis. Along with if you had any ideas, and, I basically reiterated the fact that it was our understanding that there were other career centers that had a lot of applicants that could not enroll in their school because it was full, and that we actually have room for students. Transportation, we would provide a bus. I mean, I tried to go through every particular avenue to answer what the question was. They were pretty basic. Nothing new and different than what we've said right along about our interest in trying to do that. And I think, if I get feedback, I get feedback. But they were very thoughtful questions. I think they understood the need for that. If we felt we should be joining any other supervisory district, and I said no, that we are our own and would like to remain that way if at all possible. Knowing the history of that back in the late 1998 or whatever, when I first came on boards, this school was actually supervised by Middlebury. And that transition took place then. Diane Treadway had invited me to a meeting, who was a long, well-respected special educator from the Mount Abraham district. And it was nice to know that finally all the sending schools would have representation. I think that was the big piece on that, and that, again, the community would know that through votes and, being able to vote on this specific budget. So I didn't get into all of that in the survey, but that would be something we need to tell people, like we've been there.
And I did, just to kind of piggyback on that, I did send out the legislative priorities for the year. And I really do appreciate everyone who sent me feedback. That really helped me to massage some language, to make things more clear. So for those of you who did that, I know sometimes don't know if you should or you shouldn't, but I really appreciate it when you do. So thank you very much.
Any questions? Steve?
You said that the tendency is to split between an all-state governance model and attached to the districts. It sounds like in both of those cases, this body would go away.
Correct.
And that the sending district, or whatever the newly organized district, let's just say Addison County, would then have a board that takes care of all schools, including the technical center. Is that?
So the only options currently presented, of which we have to choose, is the one CT for the whole state. And they've moved away from the BOCES language. They decided that was too complicated and had too much baggage. So now they're just calling it a CTE district, which would operate, like, it would have a superintendent, it would have, I don't know, district, it would be one district, to which all of the center people would be more like just principals reporting to the central agency. Or should they be successful at drawing new boundaries, every boundary would theoretically have a CTE or more, one or more CTEs within that boundary, whatever those boundaries look like. Those are the two choices currently presented to us, and you are correct, in either choice we would no longer be a district. Unless we were the district.
Christine?
I just, one of the proposals for the school districts in the state is also to make it one school district for the entire state. So that, who knows if they're gonna go that route or not, but there's a link to the task force committee where you can go and click on it and you can see how they're looking at the map and moving around and sort of see some of the things that they're thinking about. And I think they just added 2 more public meetings that they're gonna have coming up. It seems unlikely that they're gonna pull this off by the beginning of December, but we'll see.
This year?
Yeah, beginning of December.
That's right.
Liz, go ahead.
Sorry.
So one is just that whoever's voting for us, the VSBA did a webinar that went through their resolutions. That is like a pretty quick run through so you can get an idea of them. Second is that the task force will have 2 public meetings, yes, but also with Sue McCormick, who MUSD worked with, and she's fantastic, so very good. And not to forget about the other committees, right? We got an email about them. So there's the construction committee and
there's another committee looking at governance, right?
Right, so I forget that there's one that's working on the voting board rules, things like that, but then not to forget the Commission on the Future of Public Education. So they are dealing with what is a hot topic in our district, which is making suggestions about what it would look like, closure would look like, what the rules around that would be, and community input in that, the difference in roles between state and local. And they have a really important piece of this puzzle with their recommendation, and they're gonna have 4 public meetings, and the redistricting task force is gonna be a part of the Zoom business meeting, right? I think we're gonna be introduced to them there.
Yes,
That we can all attend, and
that's correct.
one really neat thing about this, so this was totally new to me because I grew up in Bristol, I'm in Bristol, haven't seen a lot else, right? So the Vermont the Future of Public Education, in their last meeting that's recorded, had the Burlington financial manager come in and do a presentation about equity budgeting and what that looks like in their district. So there's not I'm imagining, but so they have the high school and 3 middle schools and their elementary schools, and they talked through what it would look like. And they have a huge role for something called an advisory council, which actually, in my opinion, sounds like it has a lot more influence on outcomes in a school than my experience has been on the school board. Not that we don't have an influence, but it's like So I don't know, it's a whole hour long, so I can't really explain it, but since I haven't seen anything else, the local control piece also has a pretty special, there are other ways to do it and do it well that doesn't look like what we're used to seeing. So I would encourage people to kind of watch that and just get a different view, because like each school, there's a grant that they send out and they compete for it, and the principal budgets with this committee. And one example that I think just to highlight is, are we going to have one special educator or 3 paras? And that would be at the school level that decision is made. So like at Mount A, we don't make decisions like that on our board. So I just want to say that it's been really nice to get an example of something of what it could look like if it were different than this, in the ways that community could still be involved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz, for sharing that.
Yeah.
Could I add something that could be helpful, just an FYI? Because as Liz was describing, there's a lot of different task force and working groups and commissions. And so just this week, the VSBA put on its website under resources a new page, which is so go to our website and go under resources, and then look at the drop-down box, and it says Act 73, Vermont's Education Transformation Law, and it spells out each of those bodies, and it describes the charge of the body, who's on it, who's serving on it. It has links to their webpage if they have a webpage, so like the redistricting task force does, so you can link right in there and see everything there already. That working group on the voting wards has been formed, but they don't have a website yet. And it's all in one place, because we know, we live and breathe this, and it's very confusing with all these different pieces, plus the commission that Liz mentioned. But we felt it would be really helpful to the members just to have like a one-stop shop where you can just go in and look and see what's going on, because you need a full-time job to track it all. And you are correct, and I don't know if you knew this, Nicole, but Edie Granning and Martine Gulick, the 2 co-chairs for the commission, or sorry, not for the commission, for the working group, the task force, the redistricting task force, they will be at the September 30th VSBA regional meetings as well. So that's an opportunity for the boards to have that same input and communication with the 2 co-chairs of that commission. So I encourage you all to come to the regional meetings. It's September 30th, Tuesday. Just thought that'd be helpful, because there's so much going on.
And kudos for VSBA to move it to Burlington.
Oh, you're welcome.
The other question somebody asked me and I didn't have the answer for is whether or not that eventually could become virtual. If it was something that, people could check in. Maybe they couldn't vote on things, but at the same time they could check on the virtual meeting.
Oh, you mean the annual business meeting? Oh yeah, it is virtual.
Thank you.
Yep,
Okay.
It is virtual, and anybody can participate in the discussion, as I said. You're
Will
welcome.
it be a chat type of thing? Or?
No, it'll be an open discussion.
Okay.
We moved it online for the first time last year.
Okay.
As I said, we separated it from the conference. I think 2023 was the last time we had the annual business meeting with the conference, but after so much feedback from members saying 2-day conference is just too long for school board members because we all work and have daytime jobs, we decided to make the conference a 1-day affair, which meant we couldn't have the business meeting at the same time without losing some of the substance of the conference. So yes.
And I made sort of a faux pas by bringing you into the conversation without introducing you. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Of course, no. Well, I probably made the faux pas of not introducing myself, so there we go. I am Debbie Singheiser from the Vermont School Boards Association. I'm the Director of Board Services at the association, and I know many of you already, but I look forward to doing your board retreat with you in a few minutes.
We had Debbie here during the massive last flood event where Nicole had to, as a new employee, had to walk through the new river in front of Greg's to get back home. Yeah. It was a crazy night. We were over the North Campus. They had a leak in the roof. What else went on? I mean, it was just like...
The goats were terrified.
Yeah,
They were right
Deb still
into
talking
the
about
barn.
her. She tells a nightmare about driving home that night.
Oh.
But anyway, it was an event to remember.
It was an event.
Thank you for introducing yourself.
You're welcome.
We'll be right with you. Business manager, if you're finished, Nicole. That's all.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll just touch on a few big buckets that we're working on. I'll let David add some color commentary. So we're still working through the final stages of our FY24 audit. Fingers crossed, but we're closing in on the finish line there. We've done a lot of work in the last month or so, basically gutting all of our financials and reconciling essentially two systems against what the auditors have. If you remember, this time last year we converted, our previous business manager converted systems from ProFund to ERP, and that system conversion didn't go as smoothly as it should have been. When David and I took over in November, we uncovered a lot of cleanup that needed to happen, and we've been working through that pretty diligently the past year plus. Not quite a year, but it feels like longer. Anyway, so what we've had to do is basically just gut the entire financials, reconcile our trial balances to match the auditors, and make sure that those two systems speak cleanly to the auditor systems. So we've done a lot of work behind the scenes to get those numbers to tie out, to figure out what isn't working, and then communicating that in a cohesive and coherent fashion so that the auditors are receiving clean data from us. So we had a draft over the summer. We've basically, like I said, gone through with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that the numbers are accurate, and now we're waiting on their input to tell us what work remains. I'm optimistic that we'll have a final draft in the next month or two, but it really depends on what else they uncover. I don't suspect there are too many surprises at this point, but I guess you never know. Once we get closure on that, we can then roll our books forward completely to have a starting balance for FY25, and then we'll begin the process of that audit pretty much as soon as we wrap the FY24 audit. We've asked Ron Smith, who's the head of the audit firm, to give a presentation once we do have a final product, and so hopefully next month or the month after he'll give his audit spiel. The last few weeks we really kicked off audit season. We had a really productive meeting with the finance committee on the 4th of September. Got some great feedback from you, and this past week we've launched the process to collect feedback from our staff and core team members for the FY27 budget. So that's ongoing. We'll work through that through the end of the month. And so hopefully by the early October budget committee meeting, we'll have sort of working data that we can then poke holes in and present budget scenarios for FY27. Pretty soon we're going to start our annual open enrollment process. So we kick off our benefits open enrollment with CS1, who's our third-party administrator. So that takes place the end of October. I want to give a quick nod to Shannon, our executive assistant, who's taken on a lot of HR responsibilities this year compared to last. She's been phenomenal with helping me with onboarding new hires, contracts, benefits, documentation. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to her for really stepping up. She's going to a number of trainings to help with that, and it's really a relief for the business office to have extra horsepower there. And then lastly, on the cash flow side of things, we have started withdrawing from our line of credit, which is typical this time of year. So we pulled just over $500,000 from the line to float payroll and operating expenses. We did get another $500,000 Ed Fund payment the other day. So there are three installments throughout the year that they send us our Ed Fund payment. We just received the first one. So that was a relief. And then in a few weeks, we are going to pay down our final payment of the North Campus bond. So we have our annual bond payments due in a few weeks. So we'll hold a mini celebration for the final North Campus bond payment. It's been on the books for decades. That's the business office in a nutshell. David, anything you would add to that?
The only thing, I think one of the things that we've been focusing on is cleaning up some of the financials. There's a lot of like old fund balances that have been sitting there for years, and the CPA in me couldn't do that, so I'm forcing them to clean a lot of that up. So that's a little bit of it. And because we had already restated the 2023 financials for some other reason that I don't know about, which is a common occurrence, trying to get it all done then, so everything kind of starts clean July 2024. So that's kind of a lot of extra work for us, but we thought it was better to do it now and really start off 2025.
And I should have said too, lastly, not to hog the mic, but with this audit cleanup and reconciling, David has really taken the bull by the horns and gone line by line in thousands of lines of details, and when you look at it at quick glance initially, it's overwhelming, and we really, thanks to your help, David, and just owning that project, have achieved a lot of just incredible, it's incredible with the progress we've made from the mess that we started with, so I just want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome, and I can't do it without you. And what this means is I'm actually starting to work more on the operations side, which is making Nicole very, very happy and making me happy. So because we kind of got over this hurdle, we'll get back into it when the audit starts again, but the team in there is amazing, and I'm able to take a step out a little bit and do some other things, which is awesome.
And if you come into the building and you can't find them,
They've moved.
they have moved. They're up here in the wilderness, but they come down for lunch if you want to come in. Christina?
Are you guys all set with check review, signing, that spreadsheet, is it?
Oh, I'll have to look, I'm not sure who's
I
up
resend it out.
we need somebody for next week. I did look at it.
You did, okay.
Yeah, so there's some openings.
I can circulate
send it out?
the link for that.
And I have one other question. Are we awaiting or in jeopardy of federal funds not arriving anytime soon, as that's what everybody else is worrying about?
Yeah, I'll talk to our grant czar, David, but as far as I know, we just signed Perkins, and we've done a lot of work the last couple of months to re-sign Perkins because it's changed over the last few months, but
Okay.
yeah, I'll defer to you, David, about our other federal grants.
We have about our $100,000 Collins grant is done, and spent that money, got the money in. Our $550,000 grant is about 430 spent. So that keeps plugging along, and we're going to spend the rest of that in the next year, and I don't see any problems so far.
Thank you.
So, good news.
Update on equipment that we allocated for purchase or?
Sure. Let's see, we have, we spent a good bit of money on cleaning up and restoring or remodeling the construction lab. It's about, I can't remember actually how much it was. But we also bought a skid steer for natural resources management. Luckily, we did not have to do an RFP. It was a $39,000 piece of equipment. It's great. Our buses are on the way. We completed the RFP, we chose the vendor, their order, and Kim and Nicole, you should get financing documents to review and sign shortly, probably the next week or so. Those will be in the end of October, middle to the end of October. So we're just I'm working now with the lawyer and the insurance agency to make sure that that's all good. The next on the agenda, which was approved, is we're buying a diesel training engine for the diesel program. And that's something that, it's actually a sole source because there's only one person that makes it. So I'm going through the process with the Agency of Education to get approval to do a sole source purchase on that. You guys have already approved that purchase as well. Then we're working on some equipment for design and illustration, the Serrator. Then we're there are a few other things that we're looking for, but I'm just pausing a little bit because there's just a lot of things moving around. And so we'll be working with the facilities committee and the budget committee over the next little while to think through some of that. So, moving forward.
Thank you. Any questions? Thanks for that. Seeing none, we'll move on. Enrollment report, which is in your packet.
Yes, and David can pull that up. So we're,
To share this, so you see it, or you want to see it?
can you go?
All right.
That's okay.
And as, before when he starts, you would think that knowing your enrollment would be a simple task.
Yeah.
It is not a simple task at all, because we have data, we do not have a regular school, SIS, school information system like Power School, like most school districts. A, we couldn't afford it if we wanted to, but B, we don't need all those functions, so we have a program that mostly just does grading, called Jump Rope. So we have to keep our own data on spreadsheets, and we have a satellite program, and we have some kids who count as 0.17, some as 0.33, some as 0.5, and some as 1.0. It's actually a bigger task than you think, with lots of cross-referencing. Wendy has been hard at work at this task for 2 weeks now, and we are very excited to bring you the numbers for fall, as of today.
Right, as of today. So this is a little premature because the snapshot that we actually provide to the state is due on October 15th. However many children we have in our seats on that day is what we count. So this is likely to change slightly from that until October 15th, but not a lot. So you will see that we have a total of 377 students, and that makes our FTE, which is the number that we receive funding, by 144 and a half about. When you look at other technical centers, other CTE centers, you're going to see that there's not such a big discrepancy between that, but that's because we have so many pre-tech students. So we have, I would guess that we probably are one of the most pre-tech. That's why we have 377 students, which, you know, when you think of it as far as how many kids are we touching and how many kids are we providing that opportunity to, that's a really good number. We wish the 144 was higher, but you'll see that also later on that it's pretty much status quo from where we've been over the last few years. So the next slide, yes?
Could I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Does this include the satellite programs at Virgin?
It sure does.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So this particular page, you'll see, Steve, to your question, BUHS has 100, and that's because it does include our 2 pre-tech programs up there, as well as all the students that come to the technical programs down here. So this is kind of a nice snapshot. I know in the past you all have kind of wanted to know, well, how many are coming from, you know, the district that you represent. So this gives you a nice little snapshot of that, both in numbers and pie chart. Any questions about that one? Okay, so then.
Steve,
excuse me.
Oh, Steve.
On the Otter Valley one,
Yes.
do we provide transportation or do they provide transportation? And I mean, 10 students, that's more than I thought it was. And all the big 3 sending schools that we provide transportation.
Right. They still are responsible for providing transportation. They do send a bus, however, most of those students also drive.
Okay.
Which is interesting. But I have to say that our diesel program is full, and that's where most of these students are going. So it's just been kind of a joy to see those numbers growing over there at North Campus. So now we have breakdown by program. I just want to point out one thing that could look a little misleading. So when you look at, let's say, automotive technology, midway down the first column on the left, you'll see that there's 31 students for a total of 15 and a half FTE. Those are the easy calculations, by the way. Our half-day programs, it's half of an FTE. It's really nice. But if you look at, let's say, advanced manufacturing and engineering, you're seeing 6 and an FTE of 3. Well, that's because Dan also teaches 2 other pre-tech programs. And because we separate out pre-tech and technical, I just don't want you to think that those are his only numbers. So teachers that have a pre-tech program included, they're separate, but then if it's a technical program that's your traditional year 1, year 2, they're included in one box. So in general, we are looking for about 8 FTE in our program, so we're doing pretty good, but you will see we have some low enrollment in some of the classes, and I'm sure that will be up for discussion later on as we move into our budget year and forward. Any questions on this page? So we'll move to the next one, which is our pre-tech. So again, our pre-tech students are not here as often. That is why the FTE is lower, but the number of students is higher. So a lot of kudos to those teachers who teach twice as many students for half the FTE or a quarter of the FTE and are happy to do so. They just are glad that they have students in their classes. You'll see Hayden is rocking it. He is our only full-time pre-tech teacher. And so that's why his numbers are so high there. So he teaches actually 4 sections. We'll call it, it's easier to say 4 than to explain why it's 3.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Christina. Questions on the breakdown of that, and that allows you to nicely see we have gone up in our FTE in the Virgin satellite. Nicole and I and Jody and Sheila and Bill and Carl have worked really hard to try to put more emphasis on that and to get those numbers up. So we're thrilled that those are up over 8 and are over 9.
And those of you associated with that school district, please pass on your appreciation to that team because they really did work very hard to ensure that they could meet the FTE so we could continue the program. And because we had to meet the 8 FTE to continue the program.
Yeah, and they changed some of their scheduling around that. So, Jed.
Is there, with the new success of that, is there any appetite to try to make that also happen at Mount Aid, the satellite version of it? Is there?
We're not in those discussions yet. That has been asked before. Why don't we do this? With the satellite program comes a lot of other challenges. So right now, we're working through those challenges and it feels like we're going in a good direction. But it's so dependent on which students enroll in those classes. And it does mean that we're not getting any of those students into our programs down here as well. So it's a tricky balance, but right now it feels good. All right, and I think, I missed that one. Yes, this just takes our FTE by program and puts it into a pie chart, so it's a visual. So yeah, look at auto and diesel. They're just rocking it. Mechanical science. Thank you, David. We can move on. And so this is one that we're working with when Nicole talked about, I know she's talked about it before at meetings, that we are trying to increase our catchment area. This is one of the reasons why. So we have room and open spots in all but one program, basically. So we would love to make that light blue bar much smaller and the dark blue much higher. And we think we could do that if we were allowed to have students that are getting turned away from other centers that are full be able to come here. So that's going to be something that we're working on this year.
Wendy, can I
Yeah.
ask a question? So let's say all those bars were full.
Yeah.
What does that mean in terms of staff? Would you have to hire new teachers or just assistants?
That would be
Both?
maybe some assistants,
Uh-huh.
but nobody else.
Okay.
Nobody else in the front office, nobody else in the business office. That is open seats that wouldn't cost us anything. We would just be getting money for them. I mean, obviously more supplies and tools and
Sure.
such, but
Yeah.
Good problem.
Wendy, this is a loaded question, but what would our FTE count be if we were at full capacity across the board?
that's a good question. I think at last count, but I didn't do it this time, so this was a year ago. We had something like 230 open spots. So let's say they would mostly be half-time, but let's say some would be pre-tech. So even if it was 100 more FTE, you know what one FTE gets us, so,
That's big.
yeah.
Can I just make one point there, because I think it's a really good point. So as our tuition goes, as our number of students go up, we've got the six semester trailing average. So what that does is that as the denominator goes up, the budget is our budget, what we pay, and it's our tuition that goes down. So the tuition per student goes down for each student that we get. So might cost us a little bit more to have all these students, but the big impact is that the city schools are paying less per student. And that's the magic secret sauce that we're trying to get to.
About that.
And I said that in my survey.
And it would be significantly
difference.
less, not just a little bit less. We would be right in there where the tuition is with all the other sending schools if we had even 50 more students. Right.
I'm glad you said that, because I did not know that.
Right.
That's very interesting.
Because it's a fixed cost divided over a number of students, right?
Steve?
Yeah, I'm looking at, you said a couple hundred students. When I added up the excess, the capacity that we're not utilizing, I come up with almost 400.
400?
400 students.
Maybe it was not, I thought
That's
That are seats open.
Yeah,
Have welding, and we didn't have, we added.
that's true, yeah. Christina, did you have?
Oh, I
something
was
to
just wondering how the number of total enrolled students compares to last year's.
Oh, that's the next slide. Good question.
Oh, is it?
Actually, I don't know that we have head count, we just have the FTE.
Right, yeah.
But,
Is it close?
It is,
Since
I
the
think
FTE
it's-
is not,
right,
right, it's
exactly.
lower, so it's
Yeah.
roughly the same amount of
Yeah.
students, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so take a look, here's our, sort of a trend line, and that's where we've been. We know that the spring is generally, it goes down a little bit. We'll expect that, that will probably happen again, but hopefully not by too much.
The other thing I would point out here is that fall of 2023 is hopefully rolling off our 6-semester average, and that was so low. So hopefully that's going to have a larger impact when that semester rolls off.
Right.
Because we're laying it out now.
Yeah.
Stronger.
And remember, that's when this team came in place and changed our admissions process to make it more equitable. So you can see the difference that made that year.
That was also scheduling changes too, wasn't it, sort of, on the sending schools part?
Not so much.
No.
That was just last year that Middlebury implemented their 30-minute change. That was just last year and this year. So.
Any other questions, Steve?
Yeah, regarding the issue that just got brought up, is there any way that we could see what the fall enrollment was and how much it dropped? I mean, when people enrolled in the spring and then when they showed up in the fall, do you have an idea for the different sending schools, how many people got lost in drop add, and breaking it down by school? Because I mean, it helps us to have numbers when we go back and say, yeah, Mount Abe's percentage was like 3%, Middlebury's percentage was like 30%, so.
We know exactly, and I don't have that with me, but we can put that on the October board agenda.
Okay, I would like to see that.
Sure.
Great.
And just one last question. You mentioned that you report to the AOE on October 15th.
Yes.
And so that's like the final number. And why would that number change from now to then? Students would drop out?
Yeah,
still,
so for example, we have, there's 6 students right now that we're trying to figure out what's going on, and actually 2, so 6 from total of Mount Aid and Middlebury and 2 from Virgin. Some they're trying to figure out if they've moved away. So they're basically not showing up to class very often, and so we're trying to figure out why that is. So it is possible that by October 15th, this number will go down, and at this point, we probably won't get too many ads unless somebody moves in, but it's less likely to get an ad at this juncture.
I would add to Steve's question for information. Do you get any feedback about why they can't attend here? I think that's an important piece to know.
I mean, we always ask.
Okay.
Sometimes we get an answer that is very thoughtful and it makes a lot of good sense, and then other times we change their mind, friends didn't go, the counselor said so. Some, and you don't really know, and maybe the kids don't really know either, so.
But if you do get a response, I think it's important for us to hear
Yeah, we
those
always
things.
ask.
And to publicly, when we do have these recorded sessions for the public to understand if there is a scheduling issue,
Yeah.
and if it's, a larger number of students, and I think the public needs to know that, the schedule caused that or whatever, if you have that information.
Right. The piece that we're trying to get across as being very important to know is that when students apply, and that's in February, we would like there to be more emphasis on that's really going to happen at that point. And now it's not. Now it's kind of like, well, when we do the scheduling, if it doesn't work, and that could be in May, or it could be in June, or it could be in August. And at that point, if it changes our numbers by a lot, we might have already hired teaching assistants at that point, because we're over enrolled in some of our shop courses. So we actually hired somebody because state statute says we have to, and then we lose those numbers, so.
Another issue that has been coming up on and on is the sending schools are duplicating programs that should be taking place at the Career Center. And do you have an idea of how much that impacts our capacity? How many students are being held out of the Career Center because they're taking a class that shouldn't be offered at the sending schools?
Yeah, it's topics of discussion at all of our admin meetings.
Okay.
And I will say that Middlebury is working with us right now very diligently to make sure that they're not duplicating programs. So we actually have a meeting scheduled where we're going to be, helping develop curriculum, or at least, being there to answer questions so that a new course that they're gonna offer doesn't duplicate down here. So that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, but my understanding was that Middlebury wasn't the primary snag on that one. Okay.
Liz?
So what I would say is that, thinking on the same topic, is that I think it's an interesting conundrum if the program already existed before it began here in the sending school, right? So I think that there's a lot to work out, and I appreciate the effort and time you're taking to have those thoughtful conversations with the sending schools.
Yeah. Dan?
Can I ask, when you look at the dark bars versus the light bars,
Yes.
culinary,
Yes.
and I think you mentioned, you thought, was it art was under enrolled? I mean, the numbers really stand up for culinary.
Yeah, very small class this year.
Yeah, you mentioned full-time, maybe experimenting with half-time or something. Is that, what do we think?
Right, I think it's too early to have that discussion publicly, but as part of our planning for fiscal year 20 yes, 27, that will be part of what we bring to the budget committee first and then to the full board second.
Okay, is there discussion about that? I mean, why, do we know why the enrollment dropped?
So we don't, it is not just us, right? Across the state, culinary is struggling.
Well,
Which is interesting because there's been so much, the bear and all the media, right? However, it is not generally it's a high intensity, long hours.
Yeah.
While you can earn high pay, there's a lot around that. And so when we talk to kids, a lot of what we get is very thoughtful responses about that kind of work-life balance and pay structure.
They're seeing some of the trades
Right.
are giving, a lot better wages, so they're.
for a regular day's work.
Right.
Interesting, yeah, so the kids are looking at this.
They
It's
are.
not a passion, maybe, you'd think culinary would be a passion as opposed to
Exactly.
electrical engineering.
Right.
Okay,
But we are certainly not alone in our struggle with culinary. There have been a couple programs that closed in the last couple of years, so. But
Really?
we're gonna work, obviously, it's an important program for our community, so it's gotta be a long, thoughtful discussion as we head into fiscal year 27.
Steve?
The Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering Program, the deal there was, it's gonna get a couple of years to get on its feet, and we're like, this is the second year of this.
Yeah, remember though, his number is low because it's only half day, right? The other half of his day is STEM. So he only should be at 4, whereas he's close to 4. Where is he?
Is that six?
He's the first, second one, and then
Yeah.
STEM is over on
So 4 FTE is where he needs to be between STEM and manufacturing. So if you go back to the slides, I think he's at 6.5 or,
It'll be on both, but.
yeah, so he's,
3 in the technical and 2.5.
so 2.5. So he's at 5.5 the second year, which is a trend up for sure.
You're right, I mean, Dan personally, but I was talking about the Advanced Manufacturing and Engineering Program. Because the deal was that it was supposed to have a couple of years to get its feet under itself, and I don't know, that trend isn't. Let's take the other example, welding. Welding, it took them 1 year, and they're now golden.
Right.
And so I was wondering if there's any kind of recruiting that's going on, or any I don't know, any kind of stimulation that's intended to boost numbers in there. You said the culinary is a statewide problem, but that's why the question is there for
Good,
advanced.
it's an excellent question. So manufacturing, advanced manufacturing is traditionally for 10 years and in all states. It's very hard to recruit for because kids don't understand that field. They don't get it. I will tell you that once you get them in there, right, that's why we have been focusing so significantly on the intro to STEM. Because if we can get them into the room as a freshman or a sophomore, he's keeping them, right? They're making it to the next step. Dan is also doing, I would say, of our entire staff, the most over and above job of outside recruiting. He started his drone club, he's doing his robotics club, he's started a VEX robot thing. He's serving middle school kids on his own time without asking for anything except for parts. And he's also, what we've done, it seems unlikely that we're going to be running engineering in the future. It's currently on pause with the board of remembers for 1 more year, and we'll have to make the final decision for next year. But he's really taken a lot of that engaging curriculum and moved it into this program. And actually, that's the way that the career clusters are going. They have recently announced a change in the CTE career clusters, and engineering and manufacturing are now the same career cluster. So that actually, we apparently knew what we were doing when we were making those decisions. And the other piece with manufacturing is it's the #1 ask from the business community, like hands down. There's manufacturing, and then there's medical, and then there's sort of construction, but manufacturing is way up there. So for us, continued focus on this to try to get that understanding of how exciting and engaging and cool this program is. And it's really hard. I have had the same experience in other other states where students just don't, like, they have in their mind the schema of the mill shop, right?
Right.
And we're really, once they go in there, they're like, oh my God. But getting them there is that first thing, right? So we're gonna, and also remember that this year, we're still paying for him with a grant. So he's actually kind of free this year. And that will taper off, as we use up that money. But we're hoping that those two axes cross where we get enough enrollment then to pay for the program.
Good.
Really good question. Thank you, Steve.
Historically, approximately at least 10, if not more years ago, we had 2 students enrolled in construction and we couldn't run the program. There was no interest. So you see the swing of what's happening. And again, the pressure from the community and industry to say, hey, you know what? We need to do this. And, the average age, I put that in my survey of the workers these days and how Vermont really needs to start to address that. And we do. So as Nicole mentioned, the construction lab just took a major, we did the flooring, looked at the ventilation systems, and cleaned in there and did things that really made that shop look very professional. And I think the students participate in part of that, but also they see the need for it. And the things that they produce, the tiny houses, the conversations around the community about those things. And again, over 10 years ago, there wasn't that conversation. We had to let somebody go because we just didn't have the students at the time. So those swings, I think, happen, and we're trying to address them as they come. And the STEM piece, I think, is a very, very helpful piece for them to get introduced to that kind of, all of it at the same time. Any other conversation? Christine?
Just back to the pre-tech program, I just wanted to add on that how much I know for Jen's really appreciated how hard you guys all work to make those programs happen, because my board and we've had these discussions how these 2 courses in particular give many students a chance to take some technical courses that they would not have access to because they're on other tracks in high school. So I just wanted to thank you for making it work.
We were very, very
Thanks,
pleased
Christine.
at the outcome.
Next item. Who is actually interested in attending the VSBA annual conference? Because we have to register. So, Bill is, I'm interested. Steve, are you going from Middlebury?
I'm already registered for ACSD.
Okay, thank you. From Middlebury?
I guess.
There's a little bill there.
Right.
So. Okay. But anyway, great experience. The agenda's online. Take a look at it. I'm going to go the first part of it, but I'm not sure about the second part. But we do have to, and Bill's not here for me to ask if he's capable of doing that. But we will have a voting member, and take a look at those resolutions. If you have any input, let us know. If there's anything, what you're sending schools, think about some of it. Sometimes that's helpful if we're on the same board with that, if needed. Those are important pieces to let us know, especially from sending schools. You're doing that. And it's nice to know who might have submitted some of them, if they did come. Linda?
Do you need a motion to identify your voting member?
Again, I have to talk to Bill, and he's not here, but he was somebody I think will probably do it, but we do need a motion when that happens. I'm just wondering if we can wait till
The next meeting.
the next meeting to be able to do
It'll be
that.
over.
No, it's not the end of the month.
I'll add it on.
Yeah,
the
October.
next-
October 23.
Yeah, anyway. Thank you, Linda, for reminders.
But isn't the vote at the business meting
On the resolution?
on the
Oh,
resolution,
maybe.
which is a week earlier?
Right, and that's an open,
That was
so Deb, is that something we have to designate for that meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the only thing you need. I know it's a little confusing. So the annual business meeting is where the resolutions are voted on.
On the 23rd.
On the 23rd of October,
Okay.
the virtual meeting, and that you do need to appoint a voting delegate and an alternate, just in case
Right.
the primary one can't make it.
Okay, thank you. So we do have another meeting to be able to do that. And we do have to register, and that's some information, if you change your mind, you have to let us know. You can add to those. So committee reports, budget, I don't know if you've met, or you're getting ready to meet?
No, we've got semi-organized.
Okay.
starting to look at what we might have to do at North Campus, so.
Okay.
There is money to be spent. There's money that would be needed to be spent.
To spend over there.
We'll find a way.
All right. Chad, you want to update on negotiations?
No updates over the summer that we know of. Nicole, I don't know if you have any updates?
No, we, remember the team decided to go to mediation, so it's with the lawyers now. Brian and Pietro have it, and we haven't, I assume they're having difficulty identifying a mediator or a time. And we're standing by.
Yep.
We're at the ready.
Facilities, they have scheduled a meeting for next Thursday, I believe.
Good. I was just going to say, because Michael is the guy on that, and the last time that Bill and I were signing the bills, Bill Wiedemann and I, we were talking about setting up that meeting, so that I hadn't heard that it had been fully set up yet. That's
I
great.
think it will be warned for Thursday, and I'm looking at the list who's on that committee.
Who is the vice chair of that committee?
If there's no vice chair, it's just Michael, but since Michael was having some struggles with communication, Bill and I were offered to him that we would potentially be co-chairs, Bill and myself, or with Michael, but we haven't heard back yet.
Okay, so are you available on Monday at 9 a.m. to do either a come-in or a Zoom? That's when we had set the side time to do an agenda.
Great. Yep.
Okay, Monday at 9, we'll do that then?
Yep, that sounds good.
Do you want to come in person or do you want to do a Zoom?
Yeah, let's do it in person. I think
Okay.
that'll be better.
That'll be helpful. And then the meeting will be scheduled for Thursday?
I believe, yeah, it's in the packet, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Or Thursday.
At 8 a.m., right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that agenda will be set on Monday. Thank you for doing that, Chad. That'll be helpful. And that is good to know. Superintendent's evaluation, tonight, we're going to talk about the board's goals, and that obviously influences Nicole's goals. So, and that's something we haven't done for a long time, so that was why Deb's been asked to come and join us, and we'll work on that, so that will help. Now, conversation from last year, and remind me if we didn't go this way. I'd like, Steve and I did it in the past, and it was something that was way beyond the time that was scheduled. So we did it ourselves. I think a committee of sorts would be very appropriate. If you are interested in joining that group, we'll keep it rather small. Steve, I'm not sure if you still want to do that as part of that group.
I will, but I don't want to do it all again. So,
Wasn't I part of the process last time?
I mean,
Yeah.
we did.
I don't know if we were officially a committee, but.
Right, I don't think we were. So let's do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you are interested, you should,
Yeah.
and reason is that, when you've been on a board for quite a while, you have some processes that the Bible's already written. Anyway, and you had some interesting input last year, if I recall, about how you guys do it over in Virginians and so on.
Right, yeah, we looked at some of those documents.
And so on. But, so we need to set that up. Obviously, it'll be part of that, but I think anyone else that's interested in doing that or learning how to do it, I think that's the other part that's important. Just like negotiations. Nobody wants to do it, but when you do learn how to do it, it's important as we change hands sometimes. So think about it. I'll ask you again in October, but at the same time, Christina sounds like she's ready to join.
Maybe.
Look at her, maybe. We have to catch her. Yeah. Anyway.
The timeline is.
Awesome, thank you. We have another volunteer. Thank you. Yeah. But anyway, so I see that as at the last item for discussion. Any public comment? Anybody? Judd, go ahead.
Last meeting, there was another slideshow, and one of them was about ART and the other programs and their industry-recognized credentials and the work study that the students would do outside of the class. And the ART one showed all the students, but because they automatically have sort of a work study, and maybe that's the wrong term, an internship thing, it almost showed that they didn't have anything, and I asked about it, and then just by chance, in the time that happened when my kids is at ART, and she was explaining that they're building the sets for the town hall theater productions and things like that. So I just, number one, just some accolades to the creativity of the staff and the teachers who figure these relationships out and make that happen. Because, I mean, when I talk to my kid about it, she is so excited about it because she goes to those productions. So now they're building the sets, they have some vested interest in it, they're part of the community in every way that when I see Avery Carl out working for ECI, I feel the same thing. I didn't understand how ART was doing it. That is how they do it, and it is very cool. And then they recycle the sets, they reuse them, they repaint them, they disassemble them. So the students are learning the whole thing, and they're really genuinely a part of the community. And I just wanted to take a second to thank the teachers and staff and everyone for figuring those connections out.
Thanks, Jen.
Kim?
Wendy?
I just wanted to, you'll get a personal invitation, but our open house is October 9th, 4:30 to 6. There will be cookies.
I was gonna say, what's the food menu?
Just cookies for
Just
the
cookies.
fall.
Okay. Cookies in the fall.
But yes, please, if you can.
Put the word out.
buy.
And this is at North Campus too this year again?
Yep,
Great.
yep.
So we have a policy committee that day meeting
Oh, we do.
In the morning, yeah.
at 4.
It's at 4.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
We have a
not-
budget meeting at 8
Oh.
AM and a
Oh,
policy committee
wait,
meeting at
policy,
4.
yeah, sorry, yeah.
Policies at 4
You can
o'clock.
do it in a half hour.
Can we?
We're
It's
good.
okay
Do you want
to,
to move the policy meeting earlier?
I mean, I think, okay, so most of the major, all the stuff that we had to get done will have to have been done by October 1st. So we'll get through what we can get through, because at that point, we're just updating policies, like reviewing them for our 3-year goal. So we can just assign homework that day, and I don't think we need to do a full discussion on anything, because I don't think agenda-wise, anybody has a stomach for taking on 10 policies.
So Lena, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think we can leave it, and the open house is going to be here and at North Campus, so when people start coming in, we can leave, so.
So a half-hour meeting, sounds
Yeah.
Okay.
Christine will be there. Look out.
I actually have an event at Middlebury College that night too, but.
How's retirement?
She's cloning herself. So. Alrighty, anything else? Board reflection. Judd's very devoted to this.
Yes, take it away, Judd, would you?
I think another good meeting, 15 minutes or so longer than we hoped, but again, it's always because there's good discussion, great questions, particularly by Steve tonight, really leading the charge on the great questions. So, and again, thanks for another wonderful report and just having everything ready for us. And I really like this, being able to walk right in and get all of the packet. This new norm that we have here is really, really nice. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you. Okay. My question I will give this to Linda. Do we have to adjourn this meeting? Thank you. So I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Oh, Laura got the second on that one.
He's relinquishing his charge. But anyway, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Raise your hand. Thank you. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, seeing none. Motion carries.